When Sons of Anarchy first premiered in 2008, it didn't take long for the series to establish itself as more than just another crime drama. Created by Kurt Sutter, the show told a violent and poetic story of brotherhood, betrayal, and loyalty through the lens of an outlaw motorcycle club. At its core was a tragic narrative worthy of Shakespearean comparison, with Jax Teller as the troubled prince and Opie Winston as the soul of the story. But one decision in Season 1, one cruel, senseless twist, still leaves a bitter taste in fans' mouths nearly 2 decades later. The tragedy that changed everything. Opie Winston was the kind of character viewers rooted for. A devoted friend, loving father, and deeply loyal club member, he tried to balance his commitment to Samcro with his obligations at home. But Opie's personal sacrifices were never truly valued. After serving time in prison for the club, he returned home to find his family on the brink of collapse. His wife, Donna, wanted out of the lifestyle and rightly saw the club as a danger to their family's future. That danger became all too real in the Season 1 finale, when Donna was tragically killed in a case of mistaken identity. Believing that Opie had turned informant, Clay ordered his death. The task fell to Tig, the club's volatile enforcer. But on the night of the hit, Donna was driving Opie's truck. Tig, unaware, opened fire, murdering an innocent woman who wanted nothing to do with the club's violence. Tig's redemption arc doesn't quite redeem him. The fallout from Donna's death sent shockwaves through Samcro and fans alike. What made it worse was how the truth was hidden from Opie. When he finally learned that Tig pulled the trigger, on orders from Clay, Opie responded with violence, but ultimately forgiveness. And that's where the frustration lies. As kind-hearted as Opie was, his choice to absolve Tig of such a heinous mistake felt like a betrayal of his own grief. Even more upsetting is that Tig never seemed to fully learn from his actions. Seasons later, he would once again kill an innocent woman, Veronica Pope, in another blind act of vengeance. While Tig's tortured conscience and eventual remorse were written into his arc, the damage was done. His repeated recklessness stood in stark contrast to Opie's unwavering loyalty and suffering. Opie's downward spiral never stopped. Donna's death marked the beginning of Opie's emotional unraveling. He was never the same. Despite remarrying and trying to rebuild his life, the guilt and pain haunted him. He saw himself as the catalyst for Donna's murder and lived with the belief that her death was the price of his loyalty. His devotion to the club, once seen as noble, had destroyed the only person who truly loved him outside of Samcro. Even his second marriage to Lila, though sincere, was never able to fill the void. Opie became a tragic figure, someone who gave everything and received nothing but pain in return. His eventual fate in the series only cemented him as Sons of Anarchy's most heartbreaking character. The legacy of Donna's death. 16 years after it aired, the decision to kill Donna still feels like a scar on the soul of the series. Not because it wasn't effective storytelling, it certainly was, but because the emotional logic never added up. Opie's forgiveness of Tig was perhaps meant to show his moral compass and resilience, but instead, it felt like an emotional shortcut. Donna's death reshaped the series, yes, but it also robbed one of its best characters of justice. As fans revisit the show or introduce it to new viewers, this particular moment continues to be a lightning rod for debate. Could the story have unfolded differently? Should Tig have faced more consequences? Should Opie have been allowed to heal instead of bearing the burden of someone else's crime? In a show defined by violence and betrayal, this one act stands out not for its brutality, but for how unfairly it unfolded.